Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Let's open a beverage of your choice, because today is another episode of Terrifying Tuesdays, in which I will be reviewing a movie of the different movies that my father left me. Well, I've heard the story before, but this week it will be The Mummy, which is the Hammer adaptation with Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, and Yvonne Furneaux. Let's see, let me give you the synopsis in the back. In a Hammer Studios vivid 1959 Technicolor reincarnation of The Mummy, screen horror icon Christopher Lee wraps on the moldy gauze bandages and emerges as the tormented Charis, an avenger stalking the hills and bogs of Victorian England to track down archaeologist John Burning, Peter Cushing, and other desecrators of his beloved princess and Ananka's Egyptian tomb. This is, I think, the third, of their big classic ones. First they did Curse of Frankenstein, Horror of Dracula, and then this. It is obviously 1959. I never saw the original Universal version of this, so I can't compare this to the original. But I can go over what happens in this one. Takes place it starts out in Egypt, where you have two brothers, older gentlemen, British archaeologists. They are at the culmination of like 20 years of research. They found this tomb that nobody knew about, based on some old legend. They want to get into it. Now their son, Peter Cushing, shows you how much older these guys are. If Peter Cushing at this point is their son, and a little side note here, these guys don't look old, that much older than Peter Cushing, so it's kind of weird to casting. He is away from the dig because he had injured his leg and he's trying to heal it, reset it. They're trying to get him to go back to civilization to get his leg set because he had broken it or something like that, and he didn't want to make him limp, and he says no. But they start to go inside, and there is an Egyptian dude who speaks perfect English with an English accent, who comes up and warns them about going in, desecrating the grave. Some people, there's curses. They didn't take too kindly to this type of stuff back in the day, And of course, they don't heed the warning. He takes off, and they go in and find the stuff. Now, the uncle of Peter Cushing runs off to tell Peter Cushing about this, leaving the one guy in the tomb to do some stuff. And then they hear him screaming, come back, and they run back, or one of them runs back to the tomb to find him just kind of completely mental. He lost his mind. Jump forward 5 years. They're back in England. They had, brought all the stuff back. It's, everything's on display. The father is in a sanitarium because he's still lost his mind. The uncle and Peter Cushing are doing stuff, and Peter Cushing is married to her. And you have these two Irish guys. They're in a pub. They were hired to transport some boxes of relics to a house up on the hill. And it gets dropped, goes into a box, and then we find out that all the stuff was brought to England by Dude, the one who had warned them not to desecrate the tomb, who just a little bit before in the movie had made a vow to the God, whoever this woman, this high priestess woman was a high priestess to, that they would avenge her desecration. He goes back, he finds out that where the thing was dropped, does a little ceremony, and the mummy comes out, and the mummy is played by Christopher Lee. And during the flashbacks, you get to see what he looks like before this. And then we all know the story. This guy sends the mummy out to try and kill the 3 people who desecrated the tomb. It's not that long of a movie, so it's paced pretty well. It doesn't show on here how long it was. Or at least I don't see it on here. But it's really kind of paced well. It doesn't, have the, thing where the mummy is controlled by the dude. You don't have the little thing where he has one guy killed and they wait, giving the people a chance to kind of build up a plan and figure out what's going on. For the most part, it's once he, I don't know why it took him 5 years to do it, to get there, but they didn't know anything at that point. But it's once he got the thing, first one, boom. Second one, a day later, and then the third one was going to be that night, going after Peter Cushing's character. So that, in of itself, was kind of a refreshing aspect to this movie on my part. Because if you watch a lot of these movies, like Dracula, he has these plans, especially in the Hammer ones, where he's got a plan to get rid of people, but it just takes him forever to, carry it out. And relies on inept people to do it. So, the good guys have a chance to find out what's going on and plan against it, even though they're taking their time to go after it. This one, it doesn't do that. It's just boom, 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 boom. Kind of gets it all done. And so there's that, which is pretty good. As usual, these are wonderfully shot. Nice color to it. The acting is pretty good. I mean, that's one thing you can say about these Hammer films. They look incredible, and especially with the Peter Cushing and these people versions of stuff, the acting is really good. And the story kind of keeps up in this one. So this, I think, is one of the, I don't want to say better adaptations because I haven't seen the original one, like I said, but it is, it's really good, and it's just right down to the point. Gets you going, boom, boom, boom. Builds it up, gets the history in there, and then boom. Classic Hammer horror. And so, surprise, surprise, I recommend this. I'm going to give it for these type of movies, I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. And say, get it. Because it's Hammer horror. It's spectacular looking. Well done. And worth the time. It's less than an hour and a half. Between an hour and an hour and a half, so it's not that long. And you'll enjoy it. So let me know if you watched it, what you thought of it. And like, subscribe, most of all. Enjoy spending time with your mummy.